what's going on? Todd Shaw with another episode of the Sawdust Dude. Here today with my friend and apprentice, Mike Dellinger. What's going on, Mikey?
What's up, Todd? How's it going, brother?
Let's everybody do this now. You're like, that's the thing.
May peace be with you.
There we go. All right, cool. That's cool. You know, especially when we do this whole Carpenter Apprenticeship thing, and that's who we're talking to today. I mean, they're the dudes that watch this channel are 18 to 35, and they've got males that are interested in becoming a carpenter. And so, yeah, it's not all it's so much more than knowing 16-on center or how to use a reciprocating saw, and that's what this video is really about, one, your work ethic, and it's what you bring to the table. And it's not so much your carpentry skills, it's your life skills. And, when you talk about having a good work ethic, an ethic is something, a principle that guides your actions in life. And you kind of look at number one is, just kind of showing up on time. I mean, that says a lot about somebody. If you don't like your job, man, it's a struggle to get out of bed in the morning. For me, I go to bed. I can't wait to have that morning cup of coffee and we get to build stuff today. I get to work with Mike and we got conversation going on today. What do you think about that as far as
Well, definitely. Some days you're waking up and it's like you got to do the ugly part of the job. Like the work that we do where we're stripping down a cabin. And it's like, not the fun part, not putting a stain on and not, the creative part, but we're pressure washing. And it might be cold outside or just you're starting early and it's wet and but knowing that those type of things is what makes the end product so great. The fun part is putting the stain on, and when you see the customer, because of course they come and they see it when it's all stripped down, they're like, oh man, this is like a disaster. But you and I can see it. And my first time working with you, it wasn't that way. You were able to coach me and teach me through things like that. But originally, I'm sitting here seeing all the issues with the project, all these bee-holes, the caulk around the windows coming off and things like that, and you're able to keep a calm. You can see the finished product, but a new apprentice like myself, you can't see that. You've not been there before.
Yeah.
And but through that, where you don't want to go to work, you don't want to do those things, but then eventually you start to see this is part of the process to the end result. And then that gets you out of bed. It takes time to catch that momentum, because in the beginning you're like, I'm going to be the one pressure washing. I'm going to be the one doing the stuff that you're not doing, but you also tell me, hey, this is what I used to do.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, I've done it all by myself. So I did this part. And then eventually you appreciate the beginning stages because you got to start to finish.
Yeah.
And then that gets you out of bed, okay.
Well, guys, that's what's cool about that is just you have to be on time. You have to be dependable, because, a lot of the videos that I show you, you're using tools or you're doing something cool, but you know what? There are crappy parts of the job. It is hard work, but you know what? You get that reward, you get that success on the backside because of all the hard work you did on the front side. And that starts off with, being on time. If you're, I've said this a gazillion times, if you start work at 7:30, you ought to be there at 7:15, 7:20. Because somebody needs to roll out those cords. Somebody needs to get the cut station, get the sprayer, or get all that stuff set up so you can be rolling and going at 7:30. The old military saying is, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. So if you show up 7:30, you're late, okay? Your tool belt needs to be on. And so it's all that part of, being early, being dependable. That's what makes the job go well. But it's also, going that extra mile. And you were just kind of saying this earlier before we started, just kind of you working hard when everybody else is just kind of slacking off. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Well, it goes back to what you were just saying about showing up early to get the cords rolled out and make sure everything is going to flow smoothly in the morning time. Because how the day starts, a lot of time will affect the ending of the day, whether it's a successful day or not. So I noticed, when I started out, of course, I'm showing up to the job as if it was just a job, and you would be there. You would be doing the things like you're saying. So you're rolling out the cords. You're making sure everything is ready to flow.
Yeah.
So when I show up, I'm seeing those things. I'm looking, because you're a good mentor. Not only because you understand your job is not only to get jobs and to teach me how to do that job, but you do a good job. And I know it comes from your background in like Boy Scouts or Scouts, and you do a good job of like teaching. So by leading by example as a Scoutmaster or whatever would, that's the job of the Scoutmaster, is like not only to tell the person, you need to be here early, you need to make sure your work ethic is good, but you're saying, hey, not you don't do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. So then it's like we obviously both are competitive guys, so it's like Todd's going to be there at 7:30. I'm going to try to be there at 7:15, And, normally he has the cords rolled out. I'm going to roll them out before he gets there.
Yeah.
Oh, and he usually puts the cords up at the end of the day. I'm going to stay a few minutes over and do these things to make sure the next day is a great day.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the job. It was more about who am I becoming
there you go.
long term.
Right.
Like I have 2 children and a wife, and not getting into my personal story, I'll just kind of skim over it, but my father was in prison, growing up. And my mom, she kind of abused alcohol when I was a child. So I didn't have a whole lot of great role models around me.
Yeah.
My mom loved me. She always provided. There were always meals on the table, but I didn't have a lot of great male role models. So for me, understanding that as a weakness for me, I look to, someone like you or someone who's working. I've seen how you've dealt with your kids. You're always there. I've tried to incorporate these things so I can become a better overall person, not just a good worker. Or what's the highest paying job with the least amount of effort, but like, what's the job that can make me the best person that I can be in this short period of time that I'm going to be here on God's earth.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because too, and I guess that's what gets me up in the morning. I'm passionate about building stuff. I'm passionate about, the way I look at it on our jobs, and we're helping people. Yeah, we get paid to do it, but, it's that idea of going above and beyond. If somebody's got a question or, later on this week, we got to go out and look at a window that's been leaking. Well, it's nothing that we did when we stained this cabin a year ago, but, it's just a good practice just to go out there, and that's going the extra mile. And yeah, I'll ride out there, listen, and I'm losing money because I'm paying you, but in the end, it comes back because those people are going to go, wow, I had a problem. Todd came out and fixed it, no charge. Mm-hmm. You know what? And that's kind of how it is on the job site. You'll work with some dudes on the job site, and they're like, hey, new guy, you don't have to work so hard. We all get paid the same thing, because you always get called a new guy. Mm-hmm. Hey, Lightning, slow down a little bit. But no, don't slow down. You know what? They ought to work hard just to catch up. Because, it's not about that paycheck at the end of the day, because you're building yourself into a better person overall. And whether you stay with that company or not, that's all of the part of the skills, of going the extra mile. Section with this is just kind of being prepared when you're on the job site. And I kind of put it this way, but, you're 2 stories up, you're framing out a wall, and you drop your pencil, you're like, crap. Hey, anybody else got a pencil I can borrow? You don't want to be that guy on the job site. No, you got a backup pencil. Matter of fact, you got 2 or 3 pencils on you. And it's always being prepared. But that kind of all stems about you loving your job. If you're not prepared, you don't have all your tools or whatever, that just kind of says, you know what, this job sucks.
Right. And like you said, when you love what you do, you prepare for it. When you're going to the beach, you know, you got your sunscreen, you got your shorts, you got everything ready, you know, to go. But if you're, you know,
you don't give a crap.
If you don't give a crap, like, it's work, so you're like, well, I'm gonna show up. You know, you're just an empty body.
Let's get back to this other thing, because we were talking about, and you and I have a mutual friend who was a friend and a former employee who's not in a really good spot right now. But, you know, one of the things, guys, especially when I talk about working on you, you know, one of the temptations, you know, especially commercial construction, road crews, that means you go out of town, working on a project, you know, those guys just really seem to fall into a trap of alcohol and drugs and, hey, let's get off work and let's all go to the titty bar and that kind of stuff, you know. And so you're living that kind of life, and then 6:30 rolls around and it's time to go to the job site, but you didn't get back to the motel room until about 4:30, all right? You know what? And that's setting yourself up for a life of destruction. And so that's one of those things where, you know, you got to really guard yourself. That's working on you. That's working on your attitude. That's working on your mission. I mean, if that temptation is out there, and I'm not turning this into a Bible study, but I've been around enough, okay, to know that that's going to take you nowhere. And, you know, Mike and I have a mutual friend, and, you know, it's just a super nice guy. But, you know, he's just in a real bad place right now. And the warning was, I mean, he was working with me, doing well. The warning was, hey, man, I'm telling you, the money's good. A lot better than I could ever do. But if you go out on the road like that, let me just play your dad here for a second. It's going to open up a lot of doors to temptations, stuff that'll drag you down.
Right. Because of the lack of accountability.
Right. Maybe so, yeah.
You know, being out of town and being away from your family and people that are actually
care about you.
I'll say that. Care about you, that are like, hey man, you need to check yourself. You know, clean your nose up. You know, you're kind of falling towards the wayward side. So,
and that's a great point. Something I really didn't think about talking about. But you know, we talk about, and guys, for me, something like 40 plus years in construction, you know, one of the things that I noticed in life, man, there are a lot of talented guys, but their personal life got in the way of their profession. And it's that way. I don't care if you're a banker or if you're a bartender, if you're a carpenter, you know, and that's why I say you got to work on you, you know, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You got to be ready for the job. There was a kid working for me, and I mean, he was good. He was real good. Lost his license. I'd have to go by and pick him up. You know, he had drug and alcohol problems, had run in with the law, and it seems like that's just like construction. That's just, those kind of guys are always around, and it doesn't have to be that way. And like Mike said, if you need help, gosh, you need to get help. But you know, I go to his house, and his dad's like, yeah, he'll be up in a second, and I was like, I'm not waiting, okay? And so I went on, and probably about 30 minutes rolled by, and here comes his dad bringing him to the job site, and he's got his tools, and his dad, who I knew, started to ride off, and I was like, whoa, don't leave yet. I said, his son got there, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry I'm late, dude. I'm like, no. I said, let's nip this in the bud right now. I said, do me a favor, and he's like, what? I said, pull up your pants legs. And he's like, what? I said, pull your pants legs up. I want to see your legs. And so he rolls up his pants leg, and I said, okay, you got hair on your legs. And he's like, well, yeah. I said, you know what that means? It's time for the boy to sit down and the man to stand up. I said, it's time for the boy to sit down and the man to stand up. I said, look at you. I said, I'm having to go by and pick you up. I said, your dad just brought you to work late. I said, dude, I said, who's running your life?
You said this in front of his dad?
Oh, in front of his dad. I said, both of you need to learn this life lesson.
Right, wow.
Because your life sucks right now. And so you're a man. It's time to take responsibility for your life and for your actions. Dude, you got all kind of talent, but you're blowing it. On what?
How did he respond to that?
He just kind of laughed, but a week later he was back in jail.
Yeah, big joke to him.
Big joke to him, but you know what? And I just sent him home packing because you know what? I've learned in life, I just don't, your problems aren't going to become my problems. I mean, I keep standards.
Right. And I think that probably served him. I don't know what he's doing now, but whether he's locked up, wherever he's at, I guarantee that he's thinking about what you
said. Absolutely. And, absolutely, yeah.
So it's probably better because of that. And that's why it's important to stand up for what you believe in, even if it's uncomfortable. Yeah,
which brings us to this next point, and it is, you got to have a good, strong work ethic, but, you got to work on you too, and not YouTube. You got to work on you, because it's one of those things in this job or any job or in life, you have to be coachable. And it's I'm always amazed when you go to show somebody and they get real defensive, And so, if you can't be corrected without being offended, you'll never grow. You will never grow. If and I've had guys do that before. I'm like, dude, hey, let me show you something real quickly. And, I remember a guy one time, he was like, he goes, can I build this? And we're working on some trim, and it had complex angles and cuts, and after about the fourth time, it's wasted material, and I don't get upset about that as long as we got enough on the job. But he goes, here, you just do it. I said, well, let's do this. I tried to show you before, but I want to do it like that little kid, but you're a grown man. I want to do it. How about let me show you so you can learn? Mm-hmm. And so I showed him how to do it, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah. I was like, dude, you got to be coachable.
Right.
You got to be coachable.
Right. But see, I know being coachable is something that comes, and it sometimes as a young man, you don't have those coachable. You're not coachable. I know myself, growing up, how I said I grew up, I didn't have a strong male influence in my life, so I was not very coachable. I basically played sports. I was always athletic and able to do a lot physically, but as soon as I made a mistake or the coach got on to me, I was quick to reject the coach or even quit. Right. And it became a problem because I had a lot of influence over the team. And so because I had a lot of influence over the team, it would cause problems. And, long term, basically I was pretty much kicked off the team and not allowed to play the sport that I loved. And it was because of my ego that stood in the way of being coachable. Yeah. And so, you meeting me later on in life at a point where I'm like, I need to learn some stuff. Yeah. I don't have the skills to be a father, to be a man that I can be proud of, that I respect because of my ego standing in the way as a younger man. So, so definitely, what you're saying, like what you said about the kid, telling him those things, and he probably just wasn't. I don't know if he was a kid or not, but he wasn't in a place to where he could receive the information, or there were things that were blocking. It was a joke to him at the time. It was a joke to me for the longest, and people were making his life comfortable to be late, and his mom was probably like, well, at least I have a job. I'm trying, Mom. You hear those stories. I know I did. Enough. Yeah. I'm trying, and it's like, you're not trying. Trying is getting out of bed. Trying is showing up. What do they say? Like, showing up is 90% of the battle or something like that. And that may be wrong what I was saying, but I've learned that is, because once you show up, you're going to run into people who are going to teach you things that you're going to look and be like, oh, okay, well, he made that look really easy. Yeah. And he just taught me something that gives me a skill set to where now I'm valuable to society. I walk into a place and they look at me and they're like, oh, well, now you went from being a problem to a problem solver. You're no longer dead weight. You show up, you can help fix a toilet that's sticking or
Yeah,
running
right,
water.
right.
Nobody has to hire out
You got
$50,
skills.
$100 an hour plumber to
Yeah.
come fix a 5-second job. You know, you learn these things, your life becomes easier. People they don't see you coming and say, oh. They look and they're like, okay, he's here. The man's here. The man with the plan, you know? And that is a much better way to be received than the alternative. Because
Yeah.
I've been both.
Yeah.
You know, I've been both.
Oh, yes.
How you prepare for the job, right?
Yeah.
You show up. If you got everything you need to do a great job, the job's probably going to go well.
Yeah.
And depending on your help, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure that you've worked on jobs where it's like, person might have done the best they could, but it wasn't that great of a job, and you may have had to go back and fix the things that they messed up on. You know, so this is it's part of the learning process. You may do it willingly if the person has a lot of coachable tendencies. Okay, he shows up all the time. He rolls this out, but he rolls out the chords and makes sure my life is easier. So okay, I'm a little bit more lenient with him than I would be with the kid who overslept. Daddy brought him to work. He doesn't have a license. He's got multiple addictions that may not even be mental health issues, but just laziness, and just likes to party because he's self-centered. He's a grown-ass baby. You know, he's just a big baby that never grew up because people have made it to where he could do that comfortably.
Yeah.
So definitely coachable, like you said. You know, being coachable changes things. People have more patience with you when it's like, oh, he's doing his best.
Yeah.
Like, that's his best. And how do I know it's his best? Because every day he gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
And
guys, let's just wrap it all. All that you can see how all these just kind of tie in together, and I can even throw in your body language. I mean, you know, I see this with construction guys all the time. They freaking dress like they're homeless people. You know, wear some decent looking clothes. You know, they're going to get messed up, but you know what? That's part of the job. You know, watch your mouth. And, you know, especially if you're doing residential construction or a remodel job, you know, I've seen guys that go up to, homeowners go up to the boss and say, you know what, that guy, I don't want him back in my house tomorrow. All right, and if he shows up, you might as well pack up your tools and leave. You know what? I mean, that costs everybody on the job money just because you can't watch your mouth, or you're always smoking cigarettes or any of those things. I'm not telling you can't cuss. I'm not telling you can't smoke, but there's a time and a place for everything. Work is work. And what we do is hard work, but do it well. When a task is once begun, you leave it not until it's done. And be it matter great or small, you do it well or not at all.
Not at all. I like that.
That's good stuff, man. Well, cool deal. Thanks for watching another episode of the Sawdust Dude with Mike Dellinger. Oh, yeah. Cool deal. I'll see you next time. Oh, yeah.